What if the single biggest piece of advice you've heard about building an AI startup is a lie? A dangerous lie that's causing thousands of founders to waste their time, their money, and their shot at building something incredible. You've heard it, I've heard it. It's the gospel preached in every venture capital blog post and every tweet thread. You need a moat, you need a defensible, unbreachable wall around your business, a proprietary dataset, a unique algorithm, something that Google or OpenAI can't just copy over a weekend. It's the source of so much anxiety, isn't it? That constant fear that you're just one feature update away from being made obsolete. I want you to meet Alex. Alex is a brilliant developer. He had an idea for an AI tool that would revolutionize how marketing agencies create ad copy. He knew he needed a moat, so he spent 2 months scraping a unique niche dataset from across the web. Then he spent another 4 months fine-tuning a language model on that data. He built a beautiful, polished product around it. 6 months of his life poured into creating the perfect defensible AI product. The day he launched, he felt invincible. His moat was deep. His walls were high. But then something terrifying happened. Nothing. A few sign-ups from friends, a handful of curious visitors from Product Hunt, and then silence. 2 weeks later, a competitor named Sarah launched. Her product was simpler, the UI was less polished, it was probably just a wrapper around GPT-4. It had no data moat, no unique model. It was, by all conventional wisdom, completely defenseless. But Sarah's product did one thing slightly better. It integrated directly into Google Ads. And today, Sarah's company is doing $50,000 a month in recurring revenue. Alex's project is sitting in the graveyard of failed startups. What went wrong? If Alex's moat didn't protect him, what will protect you? The answer isn't what you think. It's not about better data or a secret algorithm. It's about a single metric that most founders completely ignore. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what it is and how to make it your ultimate weapon. Welcome to AI Hustle Empire. Let's get into it. The AI moat is a lie. Let me say that again because it goes against everything you've been taught. The traditional AI moat, as we think of it, is an illusion. It's a dangerous distraction that will kill your startup before it even has a chance to breathe. We need to break down the two sacred cows of AI defensibility, the data moat and the algorithm moat. First, let's talk about the data moat. This is the idea that if you have a unique proprietary dataset, you can train a model that performs better than anyone else's for a specific task. And for a brief moment in time, around 2021, this was true. But the world has changed. Foundation models like GPT-4, Claude 3, and Llama 3 are becoming so unbelievably powerful, so good at generalizing, that the advantage you get from a small proprietary dataset is shrinking every single day. Think of it like this: GPT-4 is the Pacific Ocean. Your proprietary dataset is a bucket of hyper-concentrated salt water. If you pour your bucket into the ocean, are you really changing the fundamental nature of the water? No. You might create a tiny temporary pocket of slightly saltier water, but the tide of the general model's capability will wash it away in weeks. The pace of improvement of these foundation models is relentless. The edge you gain by fine-tuning today could be completely erased by the release of GPT-5 tomorrow. Chasing a data moat in the application layer is like trying to build a castle on a tectonic plate. The ground underneath you is moving too fast. You spend all your time building this beautiful, intricate fortress only for the landscape to completely change, leaving your castle irrelevant and isolated. Now, there are exceptions. If you're a massive enterprise with decades of truly unique structured data, like Bloomberg with financial data or a hospital with medical records, then yes, data can be a moat. But for 99% of us, the indie hackers, the solopreneurs, the bootstrapped founders, our data is a puddle, not an ocean, and relying on it for defense is a losing strategy. Then there's the second myth, the algorithm moat. This is the idea that you'll invent a new type of neural network architecture or a revolutionary training technique that gives you a lasting edge. Let's be brutally honest with ourselves. Are you going to out-research Google DeepMind? Do you have a team of PhDs and $1 billion to spend on compute clusters? Probably not. The foundational model layer is a heavyweight fight, a battle of titans. We aren't in that fight. We're building on top of the platforms they create. We're in the business of application, not fundamental research. Trying to compete on the core algorithm is like trying to build your own CPU before you write your software. It's a waste of time and a misallocation of your single most valuable resource. So, if data isn't the answer and a custom algorithm isn't the answer, are we all just doomed? Are we just building temporary features on top of OpenAI's platform, waiting to be Sherlocked? No, absolutely not, because we've been looking for the moat in the wrong place. We've been looking for a static wall, a fixed asset. But in the world of AI, the only true defense is not a noun, it's a verb. It's a process. Your only defense, your only moat, is shipping speed. That's it. The speed at which you can identify a user problem, build a solution, get it into the hands of users, and incorporate their feedback into the next version, your OODA loop. Observe, orient, decide, act. The founder who has the tightest OODA loop wins. Period. Sarah, our founder from the intro, didn't have a better model than Alex. She had a faster loop. While Alex was perfecting his data, Sarah was talking to users. While Alex was fine-tuning his algorithm, Sarah was shipping an integration. She was learning and adapting at 10 times the speed of Alex. And in this market, speed of learning is the only thing that compounds. Speed isn't just about moving fast for the sake of it. Speed creates its own set of moats. Let's call them micro-moats. And unlike the old moats, these are ones you can actually build. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the 3 micro-moats that are a direct result of shipping speed. The first and most important is the feedback moat. Every time you ship a feature, you create an opportunity to learn from real users. You get data, not the kind of static data Alex was scraping, but living, breathing usage data. What buttons are they clicking? Where are they getting stuck? What are they exporting? What are they telling you in support chats? This feedback is gold. It's the most valuable data set on the planet because it's specific to your product and your users. Your product roadmap stops being a list of your own brilliant ideas. It starts becoming a direct reflection of your users' needs. While your slow-moving competitor is holding strategy meetings to guess what users want, you know what they want because they told you yesterday and you're shipping the solution tomorrow. This creates a powerful flywheel. You ship, you learn, you build what they want, they love the product more, they give you more feedback, you ship again. This loop, this learning cycle is incredibly difficult for a competitor to replicate. They can copy your feature, but they can't copy your last 6 months of user learnings. By the time they launch their clone, you're already 2 generations ahead, building something they haven't even thought of yet. That's the feedback moat. The second micro-moat is the brand moat. Think about the products you love. Chances are they feel alive. They're constantly improving. There's always something new. Midjourney is a perfect example of this. They don't have a traditional data moat. Their moat is that they ship insane improvements at a blistering pace. Every few weeks, there's a new version, a new feature, a new capability. This does two things. First, it builds an incredibly loyal community. Users feel like they're part of a journey. They get excited for the next drop. They evangelize the product because it's constantly giving them new superpowers. Second, it builds a brand reputation for innovation. You become known as the company that gets it, the one that's always on the cutting edge. When a potential customer is comparing your product to a competitor and they see you've shipped 20 updates in the last 6 months while your competitor has shipped two, who do they trust to solve their problems in the future? You. You build a brand that is synonymous with progress. That's a powerful moat that no amount of venture capital can buy overnight. It's earned one shipped feature at a time. And that brings us to the third micro-moat, the workflow moat. This one is subtle, but it might be the most powerful of all. The first product to become deeply embedded in a user's daily habits wins. It's about becoming part of the furniture. Speed allows you to quickly build the small, unsexy things that accomplish this. The Chrome extension, the Slack integration, the Zapier connection, the little keyboard shortcut that saves them 5 seconds. These are the things that turn your product from a novelty into a necessity. The switching costs become incredibly high, not because your technology is so advanced, but because the user's habits are so ingrained. They'd have to retrain their muscle memory to leave you. Your product is no longer just a tool, it's the way they work. A competitor can clone your core AI feature, but can they also clone your 15 integrations, your browser extension, and the specific way you've saved your power users 3 hours a week? It's possible, but it takes time. And while they're playing catch up on your workflow integrations, you're using your feedback mode to race ahead and build the next essential piece of their workflow. See how these stack? Speed creates feedback. Feedback informs what to build. What you build creates workflow, lock in, and a brand of innovation. It's a virtuous cycle. It's a dynamic moat constantly being rebuilt and reinforced with every single deployment. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we get faster? This is the part of the episode where we get super tactical. I'm going to give you a 3-part playbook for building a culture of speed. Part 1 is the mindset shift. You have to abandon the idea of a grand launch. The big reveal is dead. You need to adopt a mindset of continuous deployment and constant iteration. Your goal is not to launch a perfect product. Your goal is to launch a minimum viable product and start the learning loop as fast as humanly possible. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, famously said, "If you are not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late." This needs to be your mantra. Give yourself permission to be imperfect. Give yourself permission to launch something that only does one tiny thing. The goal of version 1 is not to acquire a million users. The goal of version 1 is to acquire your first piece of feedback. Part 2 is your tech stack. Your technology choices should be optimized for one thing and one thing only: speed of iteration. This is not the time to build a complex, scalable to a billion users architecture. This is the time to use tools that let you move fast. Use no code or low code platforms like Bubble or Webflow for your front end. Use backend as a service platforms like Supabase or Firebase to handle your database and authentication. Use Vercel or Replit to deploy in seconds. Use pre-built component libraries so you're not redesigning buttons from scratch. The goal is not to write the most elegant code. The goal is to get a working solution in front of a user. Every decision you make, you should ask yourself, does this help me ship faster? If the answer is no, you're probably making the wrong choice. Part 3 is your product philosophy, and it can be summed up in 2 words: solve one. Solve one problem for one type of user better than anyone else. The biggest mistake early stage founders make is trying to build a Swiss Army knife. They build 10 features that are all mediocre. Instead, build a scalpel. Find a single, painful, high frequency problem and build an incredibly sharp solution for it. That's it. Your first version might just be a single web page with one input box and one button. That's fine. If it solves a real problem, people will use it. And those people will tell you what to build next. This focus is your superpower. It allows you to move incredibly fast because you're not bogged down by complexity. You can build, measure, and learn on a daily or weekly basis, not a quarterly one. I want to leave you with a challenge, the 48-hour MVP challenge. This weekend, I want you to take that idea that's been rattling around in your head, the one you think needs 6 months to build, scope it down, and then scope it down again. Reduce it to its absolute essence, the tiniest possible version that delivers a sliver of value. Then build and launch it in 48 hours. Put up a landing page, post it on Twitter, send it to 10 people. I don't care if it's ugly, I don't care if it breaks. The point is to break the cycle of perfectionism and start the feedback loop to prove to yourself that you can ship, so let's bring it all home. We started this journey with Alex paralyzed by the fear of being defenseless, spending 6 months building a beautiful moat around a product nobody wanted. We systematically dismantled the myths of the data moat and the algorithm moat, showing how they're illusions in today's fast-moving AI landscape. And then we uncovered the truth. The real moat, the only defense that matters, is the speed of your iteration cycle. We talked about the 3 micro-moats that speed creates: the feedback moat from user learning, the brand moat from consistent innovation, and the workflow moat from deep integration. And finally, we laid out a tactical playbook, shifting your mindset to continuous deployment, choosing a tech stack optimized for speed, and focusing your product philosophy on solving one single problem. The story of Alex and Sarah isn't just a parable, it's happening every single day. Founders with brilliant ideas are being outmaneuvered by founders who are simply willing to ship faster. Your biggest competitor isn't Google. Your biggest competitor isn't a well-funded startup. Your competitor is the person who is willing to ship a crappier version of your idea tomorrow while you're still stuck planning in your Notion doc. Don't let them win. The time for planning is over. The time for building the perfect moat is over. The only thing that matters now is what you ship next. Go ship. If this episode lit a fire under you and you're ready to stop planning and start building, do me one favor. Hit the follow button on AI Hustle Empire in your Spotify app right now. It tells the algorithm that this is the kind of tactical, no fluff content you want more of, and you won't miss next week's episode. And if you know another founder, a fellow builder, who is stuck in the trap of perfectionism, please share this episode with them. It might be the permission they need to finally get their idea out into the world. Thanks for listening. Now close this app and go build something.